All right, all right. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Once again, it is your brew. That's me, Bon Shemayim, back with another one. The water for everybody tuning in. That means thank you. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Today's video, we are going to be talking about the end times. And yes, we are going to be using second Esdras. And yes, we are going to start off with second Esdras 15. So that's going to be the title of this. Second Esdras 15. End time prophecies. So without further ado, let's get into it. Do. So we'll start with second Esdras 15, right? Why not? Let's start at verse number 1. It says, matter of fact, let me fix this, y'all, because this light right here is bothering me. Okay, I might be a little darker, but hopefully it'll help me read it a little better. Let's get it. This is second Esdras 15. We're starting at 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of the prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee, right? And let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And I think this is so cool about, and that's how you know I just get so used to reading the King James Version, because you got the V's where the U's was. So I just want to stop and throw that out, right? So, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled, right? So this is like a consummation, right? This is a consummation. This is like a build-up. It's like the vats are full, as the Bible says in the New Testament. The vats are overflowing, right? So let's get it. It says, For their wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Now, I'm not saying that parts of this couldn't have happened in some form or way in past history, but the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. So, but what I'm stating is this second Esdras 15 and 16 is end times prophecy. It's exactly what we're about to go through. Let me keep reading to give you further proof. This is going to be a proof-packed one, right? It says, Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they prophesy, it says, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them. It says, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves, right? So this is what God is saying. Therefore the Lord saith, right, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, right? Which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. So I'm not going to suffer their wickedness no more. Behold, the innocent in righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. Right? So the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continuously. Let's get this. Ezekiel 38. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to go to here. Genesis 4. Sorry about that, y'all. Genesis 4, right? We're going to start at Genesis 4 and 10. And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground, right? And now art thou cursed from earth, right? So this was a curse from starting from Adam and Eve, from Cain. When Cain killed Abel, the blood of Abel, the innocent blood of Abel cried up and put a curse out, right? It says, and now thou art cursed from the earth, because the blood of his brother was spilt on the earth. We're going to get into this in the law. Let's go over that again. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Where is God stationed? In the heavens. So if it's crying up, it's crying to the heavens. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. Right? So it's like the earth is cursed you. Right? A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. Right? Let's get this next chapter, which is Deuteronomy 21. And we're going to show that this was also something in the law. Right? Let's get it. Let's get it. Okay, we'll start at 6. Deuteronomy 21 and 6. My computer is acting a fool. And all the elders of that city that are next unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley. And they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Be merciful, O Lord, unto thy people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, and lay not innocent blood unto thy people of Israel's charge. So don't put this innocent blood on us. In the blood shall be forgiven them. So shalt thou put away the guilt of innocent blood from among you. When thou shalt do this, that which is right, or that which is right in the sight of the Lord, right? So we wanted to get over that because of that. Like, that's why we went into this in the first place, to show that this is not something that just pops up here. It pops up multiple times throughout the Bible. Matter of fact, I know this is going to make people mad, because I know a lot of people don't like the book of Enoch. Oh, here we go. I already have it up. A lot of people don't like a book of Enoch, but we're going to go into the book of Enoch where it mentions this again, right? This is Enoch chapter 9, and we're going to start at 8, right? The women likewise have brought forth giants. So we know that that happened in Genesis, right? When they brought forth the giants. Thus has the whole earth been filled with blood and with iniquity, because we know there was wars and battles, as they say, the battle of the gods, right? In Greek mythology and in Egyptian mythology, right? Thus the whole earth has been filled with blood and with iniquity. And now behold, the souls of those who are dead cry out and complain, even to the gates of heaven, showing that this is something that has constantly been going out. You know, these cries were constantly being spread out into the gates of heaven. That these cries were reaching into the gates of heaven when these people were crying. And this was right before the old world was destroyed. So the reason I brought that back up, or brought that up, was to 360 back to this point. Which, where was we at? Okay, at 8, where it says, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness. So like I said, this is a consummation. This is a build-up, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. So I'm not going to suffer them to keep doing this evil and wickedness against me. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, which I just proved going through other books is something that is not new to the Bible, but is also something that was done once God got sick of the old world, before the flood came and he washed them away and started back off with Noah. And remember what Christ said, that the end time will be like Noah's time, or Noah's time, right? So we're living in a time like Noah's time. And that's why I brought this up. We're going to get even more, because it's going to break it down even more, because there's no other way. We're going to break it down. Let's get it. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them, right? So the avenging is on us. Like he said in Revelations, he was going to avenge our bodies on the daughter of Babylon, right? And receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, right? I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, right? So it's saying that he won't suffer us. And this is how you know it's a future prophecy, not a past prophecy, unless you're trying to link this prophecy to Egypt, to when we were first captives. And if you were going to do that, this second one destroys that. Because watch this. It says, I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. I will bring them with a mighty hand, right? That fury poured out that we were reading of in the Bible over and over again, and how he would bring us out of the lands that he scattered us, right? I will bring them with a mighty hand and with in a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. Meaning he already did it. Let's go back. Let's go into this one real quick. Meaning he already did it, right? So let's go into this one. Because everybody should know this one, right? This is Deuteronomy 28:68, right? And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Note that again word, right? To turn back or to return. Meaning it's not the first. This is the second time of it happening. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So let's go back over this again, right? Because it's going to make more sense now how this is the end time prophecy, right? And behold, my people are led as a flock to the slaughter, right? Because no man could buy us or redeem us in this second Egypt, right? And I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. So he's not going to suffer us to stay here any longer. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And I will destroy all the land thereof. Right? So he's gonna as before, meaning he's done this before. This is our second time in Egypt. And this is not talking about the Egypt over there on that side of the world. It's talking about this Egypt, the one with the dollar bills that's got pyramids on them. That Egypt, right? And he will destroy all the land, as he said in Revelations, that this land will never be inhabited again, right? It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it. It says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting of hail and with a fearful constellation, right? So we know that what's failing, the crops, the food, right? Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword, it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So this is not speaking of just one place in the world, one kingdom versus another kingdom, as may be thought once you get into the part where it mentions the dragons and everything. This is speaking to the whole entire world. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. This is the end times, you guys. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, in swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, nor course of their action shall stand in their power, right? In the course of their action shall stand in their power, right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. See, that's what's going to happen. That's what's coming. Borders closed, not being able to leave. We experienced this in COVID, or when everybody was forced to get the jab. Excuse me. We experienced this with that last sickness or pandemic that we had, right? Right? A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and man shall be afraid. You understand? So when it's speaking of this, it's saying man shall be afraid. That's not speaking of what all men will be afraid of what's coming. This is the end time. It's not going to be over fast, you guys. What's going on in the world got to happen, right? It's got to happen first. It's got to happen first. And then through this happening, we will be forced into the wilderness because the cities will be destroyed. You understand? What did he say? We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that later on. Let's get into it. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So this is robbery. This is stealing. This is people no longer going after people for nice chains, but going after you because you got food in your refrigerator, right? It says, behold, saith God. And somebody asked me, what could be worse than slavery? Because the Bible says that you will never suffer anything like it ever again. And I told them that what's coming is worse than slavery. They said, what could be worse than slavery? This, starvation, where some people are going to eat their children. Or some spouses is going to allow themselves to die so their children can eat. Being unholy, unclean, unfaithful, right? Because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, from the Libanus, to turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them. Does this not sound like when it says that I will bring all nations down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and there I will plead with you for what you have done to my people? Right? This is what it's talking about. So don't let people fool you by going over a part. Get the context and then go into the parts, right? If the parts happened previously and they happen again, then that's fine. But get the context first, right? It says, it says, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, right? So I'm about to repay on them for what they've done to my chosen people. So I will do also in recompense into their bosom. Like I said, just like it said before, right? Thus saith the Lord. Just like it said in the previous chapters that I was just bringing up, that it said that I will bring you to the valley of Jehoshaphat and judge you for what you've done to my people, right? The fire is gone forth from his wrath. This is God's wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like straw that is kindled. This is not speaking about a specific nation. Get that. Don't let nobody teach you otherwise, because otherwise you're going to think that this is going to happen and everything is going to be hunky-dory. No, we're about to go into a bad time. That's why I'm praying for everybody. That's why I care for everybody. Understand? The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, okay? It says, woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore deliver he them unto death and destruction. See, this is the end time prophecy. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for God shall not deliver you. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. What did the Bible say? What did Christ say? Those who endure to the end, the same shall be called saved. You gotta use the words and wisdom of God. Take heed the same way when Christ said, when Yeshua Mashiach said, when you see the abomination which causes desolation, flee into the mountains of Jerusalem, right? That was for them to protect themselves. If they wouldn't have did that, there wouldn't have been slavery in America, but then there wouldn't have been our people left at all. You get where I'm going. So this is what you're doing. You're believing in the words, preparing yourself for your belief. So therefore, your faith can be shown that you believed and you prepared yourself for this, right? It says, for the Lord knoweth all of them that sin against him, and therefore delivered he them unto death and destruction, right? For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, right? For God shall not deliver you, for ye have sinned against him. And this is where it goes, where most people will say that this is speaking of thing that's already happening, not the end times. Is this? Behold a horrible vision. We went over this in the scripture I did last week, right? But it says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against them. This is the end time judgment. And it says it will remain on the whole earth. That means foreverness. It's going to last forever. Now let's get into this part, because this is where we finished on that lesson. This is more proof that this is end time prophecies, right? Because we know that this was talking about the bombs, right? And how the bombs would come, right? Great mighty clouds shall be filled up full of wrath. And we know that's what it looks like when a bomb hits. We're watching it happen in Israel. We were watching it happen in Russia and Ukraine earlier this year, right? In the star, that they may make all the earth afraid. What does a bomb look like? A shooting star. If you ever go to the middle of nowhere and watch how fast shooting stars drop, it's almost like there's a war in the heavens, right? That they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star. This is the bomb. They did not have the way to pour out a star, that people could pour out a star over every high and eminent place. That means like capital city state, right? It says fire, hail, and flaming swords, and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with an abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of wood and grass of the meadows, in their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. Right? So this is talking about end times property, about these bombs starting over there in the Middle East and coming all the way back to America and making her afraid. And they shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all the wrath shall they pour upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven, which we read about this in Revelations, where it says that the dust and smoke of America, of Babylon's, the daughter of Babylon's destruction, will go up to the heavens, and God will be pleased because her destruction was carried out for what she did to his people, right? And then shall the dust and smoke go up into the heaven, and all they that are about her shall bewail her. Where else did we hear this? In Revelations. This is end time prophecy, you guys. This is end times prophecy. This is the time we're living in. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear, right? And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, woe be unto thee, thou wretch. And you would think, how am I able to put these words together in the Old English? I feel like it comes more naturally to read it this way than to read Common English, and I get messed up more on that, right? It says, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thyself, right? So what did it say? And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon. Why is Asia partaker of the hope of Babylon? Because they have designed Asia, India, China, they have designed themselves after America. The technology, the infrastructure, they have designed themselves after America. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon. If it wouldn't for them, there wouldn't be a hope. They've been making everything for us for a long time, right? And art the glory of her persons, right? Because all these things that we have, this cheap stuff that we're able to get here that makes America so great, or the daughter of Babylon so great, comes from Asia, right? It says, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, because you wanted to be like the daughter of Babylon or America, and has decked thy daughters in whoredom. Right? So what did they do? What is China known for? Working all types of hours, getting paid very little, right? Being used for everybody else. That's to be used as a tool, right? They deck their people out for whoredom, to be used for the world, right? That they might please and glory in thy lover, so that the world who needs your goods and your things will be pleased with you, which have always desired to commit whoredom with you. They always desire to get all of this stuff from you. They always desire to get that. And how do we know? This is proof. Thou hast followed her, speaking of Babylon or America or the daughter of Babylon, that is hated in all her works and inventions, right? Science, technology, like I mentioned earlier, the creations we have created, God hates it. China mimics it. God hates it, right? Therefore saith God, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So after the daughter of Babylon or America falls to Gog and Magog, right? To China and Japheth and Shem, there will be a punishment that comes on them for designing themselves after America, to where they will be destroyed. And that's how the power falls into the hand of the beast, which we know, which was and which is not, which yet is to come, which is Rome, right? So that's what I'm trying to explain to people. It's not like Rome just about to take over. That's not about to happen yet. There's a ways to go. These people are going to win this war. After they win, they will be destroyed. God will destroy them. He says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of the power shall be dried up as a flower, when the heat shall arise that is sent over thee. It says, thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with strife, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to rescue thee. They won't be able to help you out of this situation. It says, would I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Lord. And notice this is an I because there were no J's. So it's Ias or it's Iliacy. But I said jealousy because it just, like I said, I read this book so much that I'm kind of just go with it, right? If thou hadst not always slain my chosen. See, and that's what I be saying. This is not an Esau thing. All the nations in the world took part of slaying the chosen, right? Exalting the stroke of thine hand, saying over their head when thou wast drunken, right? It said exalting the stroke of thine hands, saying over their dead, right? When thou was drunk. So you're celebrating you beating somebody to death or killing people or hurting people. It says, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall God doeth unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy city shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. See, this is that famine he said was going to come. Thou as unhappy shalt come through the sea and receive plagues again. So they're coming back through the sea. Where are they coming through the sea to get to? Where are they coming through the sea to get through, y'all, to prove this is future prophecies? And in the passage, they shall rush on the idol city. What is the idol city, y'all? And shall destroy some portion of the land and consume part of thy glory, and shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. So they're coming back through the sea to return back to Babylon, which was destroyed. And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be unto thee as fire. See, this is when it says that the 10 who hate the whore will burn her with fire at the end. This is the end result. When they conquer America via bombs, or the daughter of Babylon via bombs and then troops, and they come back across the sea to come back across, they will be destroyed and consumed with fire. Right? And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble. right? That means you're ready to be burned with the fire. And they shall be unto thee as a fire, and shall consume thee in thy cities, thy land, in thy mountains, all thy woods, in thy fruitful trees, they'll burn up with fire. Thy children shall they carry away captive, and look what thou and look what thou hast. They shall spoil it and mar the beauty of thy face, right? And how do we know about this fire, right? This fire. How would we think? Because that same fire, it says that that last system in Revelations, it says that the world would say that this thing could make fire come down from the heavens. Who could make war with it? So this is how they get their proof. At the end of this, they destroy what's left of America, Europe does, like the Bible prophesied, and they destroy Asia. And they become the one world power, Rome, not Europe, Rome, right? So let's get into, we're going to end this with 16, right? So we could know, because it's talking about all the areas that are in this war, in this end times prophecy. Woe be unto thee, Babylon, in Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt, in Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Right? So rip your hair out, rip your beard out, get ready to cry about it. Right? Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? The plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Nobody can stop what's happening. This is the Most High God. This is not something that previously happened that will stop and get better, and then eventually it'll get bad again. No, this is what's happening in Esdras, 2nd Esdras 15 is leads to this. This is the end, right? It says, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? Like you see, these forest fighters, that's what it's talking about. You be seeing these people trying to fight this for months and weeks and can't stop it with all our modern technology. This is what he's talking about. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. You got the power to take a bullet being shot out of a 45 and stop it. Are you Neo? Can you just grab the bullet? Right? It says, the mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire go forth from his wrath, and who is he that can quench it? Who can stop the fires when God starts to do it, right? He casts lightnings. What do lightnings look like? Light, shocks of light flashing through the eye, right? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten. Because remember, he said that the destruction would be done from weapons of his indignation. He gave men, he allowed men to come up with these weapons for their own destruction. Right? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? What could turn a person into powder? Right? The earth quaketh and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up in the waves from the deep, and the waves are troubled. And the fishes thereof are also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. We've seen the waves rise up. We've seen the storms get worse. We've seen the fishes dying, the birds falling out the air. We've seen all of these signs. The fishes being washed up on the sea, the sharks, the whales. We've seen all of these signs. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world, right? So this is the same thing about those stars being fall. These stars or these arrows are going to be going from one end of the world to the other, and they are sharp. They won't miss. And when they hit, people are going to be turned into powder at his presence, at the presence of these things, right? It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. What we just read in 2nd Esdras 15. These plagues will not slack. We cannot go back 2,000 years ago because whatever plagues they had slacked until this new time. They went away. The world got better. They had empires, new kingdoms, new things set up. The world got better, living up into our time in which we grew up in modern day technology. But now, what's happening now? These plagues, these things that's coming upon the world, these efficiency in the banks, these efficiencies in the banking systems, the world depression that's about to happen, World War III. None of these things are going to slack, right? Let's get it. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Right? Like an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backwards, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. It shall not ever be another time like this. This will be the worst time ever in history. Right? Woe is me. Woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? Esdras is seeing this as if he's going to be going through this. He's like, whoa, the woe is me, God. Who going to save me? Right? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginnings of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The powers are the things that we were supposed to fight against, y'all. It's the governments, it's the corporations. These wars are going to make everybody afraid. Not just me and you, the whole world is going to be afraid from this. Right? The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague are tribulations and anguish. Tribulations and anguish are sent as Scrooges for amendment. Right? So the fact that it's costing so much to get food, or people are lacking it now. The plagues we got with the disease that was just out a few years ago, where everybody had to get the shot or the dab, right? Or the jab, right? Tribulation and anguish, right? The things that we go through constantly as a people, and people are like, why do they hate us so much? Is it our color? Is it our spirit? Is it our energy? Right? In anguish, the anguish that we're feeling from the pressure of the world are sent as Scrooges for a minute. They're sent to make you change and repent, to wake you up out of your sleep, like we went into in the last Bible study. But for all these things shall they not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of Scrooges. Behold, victuals shall be so good and cheap upon the earth, that they shall think to themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right? For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of the famine. And the others that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall no man, it says, and there shall no man to comfort them. So nobody's going to come and save you or redeem you from this situation. This is what we have to go through before our Savior comes. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripe, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate a man, that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. You understand? This is the end, you guys. This is what we're about to go to. We got to go through all this hardship to make it to see Christ. Remember, the Bible says once we see Christ and we're in his presence, then we'll know. Then we'll know who made it and who received the reward, right? It says, for of a city there shall be 10 left, because we need to leave the city. The cities are going to be the worst places, you guys. The cities are the worst places. In 2 of the fields which shall hide themselves in thick grooves, and of the clefts of rocks. As in an orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or when as a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in these days shall there be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. So 10 within the city is still going to be 3 or 4 left that's coming into the city just to go through to every house and search it with the sword, right? And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old in her ways, and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. Women shall mourn having no husbands, and their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. It's going to be very hard in these times, from women being used as property to everything else in these times without having a man being a woman. It says, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Right? So this is a message to us about how do we prepare in these times. Behold the word of the Lord and receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. This is about idolism and fake gods that want us to worship other things instead of the Most High God. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. They will not stop. As a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. If you go back and watch my videos, I was telling you guys that before 2019, I was saying that when 2019 is over, that's when the plagues are going to come, and they will not slack. It will not stop into the end. It will not stop until Christ comes, until the world is over. You understand? Even so, shall not the plague slack to come upon the earth, and it says, and the world shall mourn, and the sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, and make ye ready to the battle. And in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Why? Because pilgrims flee. They go to a land and stay in a land that is best for them. When the land is no longer good for them, they pick up and go to another land. That's why he's telling us to be like pilgrims, because everything you doing in the city will not help you. Right? He that selleth, let him be that fleeth away. So if you sell merchandise, you're a businessman, make sure you're getting prepared to flee, to get up out of Dodge. And he that buyeth is one that will lose. So even if you just bought something fancy or nice, understand you're not going to make a gain from it. It's going to be an L when the world falls apart, right? He that occupieth merchandise is he that will have no profit by it. So if you building something thinking to make a whole bunch of money, understand you might only have a few years to make this money, because you will not make profit by any merchandise you have. And he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein, right? So if you building stuff in these cities and in these areas, understand you will not be able to stay in these places, right? And he that soweth as he that shall not reap. So you putting things in the ground, you won't be able to reap. And when these bombs hit, you think you're going to be able to go get stuff out the ground. It's going to be better to have an indoor, airtight, growing facility, right? So with filters. It says, so also he that planteth the vineyard is he that shall not gather the grapes. Right? Why won't you gather the grapes, right? And they that marry as they that shall not get no children. So even if you married, you're not going to be able to get no children, is what it's saying here. And they that marry not as widowers. And if you didn't get married, you are going to be a widower. This is before the 7 women cleave into one man. That happens after all of this. Once people start linking back up and getting back around each other, then the 7 women are going to cleave to one man, because they're like, look, we just need a man. They haven't had a man. They recognize how much they needed them, right? And therefore, they that labor in vain. Everything you're doing is for nothing. It's going to go away. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. So while they take your children, that's why I say women will become property again during this time. They never change. It's just that the mentality of it has changed in the Western world, but it will change again in these events that's coming, right? For in captivity and famine will they get children. So they're going to take the innocence from people's children and force them to bear children. You understand? And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery. So the people who doing this, they're robbing, they're taking, they're killing, they're stealing. The people who's doing this, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, right? So they're going to do this and build themselves up and deck themselves out, right? The more will I be angry with them for their sin, saith the Lord. Like as a whore envieth a right, honest, and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness, it says, so shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face when he cometh that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon the earth. Right? So this is what's going to lead into that time. Thank y'all for tuning in to this video. This was a long one. It's got my back on fire. I hope y'all tuned in to the end. Whether you liked the video or you didn't, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share. Let's talk about this in the comment. Drop scriptures of the end times in the comments. Let's get it. On that note, I just wanted to say Kala Haya by Shimei Shai, which is all praises to the Most High in the name of his son. And I want to say Shalom, which is peaceful greetings, because we're about to exit, and Barakatah, which is bless you. On that note, until the next time, peace. Peace out, y'all. Catch you next time. Kwam Yasharala.